At the Christmas party, elite women were eyeing the wealthy bachelor, but he only had eyes for the poor waitress, and what he did next left everyone speechless. Before we start the story, leave in the comments what city you're watching from. And, the end, don't forget to rate the story from 0 to 10. Enjoy the story, everyone. The Alpine Lodge Hotel was the kind of place where rich people came to pretend they liked snow. It sat in the heart of Aspen, Colorado, had chandeliers worth more than cars, and was exactly 3 days away from the most exclusive Christmas gala in the country. Hannah Brooks didn't care about any of that. What mattered was that her supervisor had gone to the bathroom 15 minutes ago. The reception phone wouldn't stop blinking, and she was alone at the desk, trying to look like a competent professional. Trying was the key word. "You can do this," she whispered to herself, straightening her posture. "You're capable. You're trained. You read at least 30 pages of the 200-page manual. That's," she did the math in her head, 15%. 15% is almost passing, in some schools, in some countries. The phone rang. Hannah jumped so high she almost knocked over the pen holder. "Just the phone," she breathed, hand on her chest. "It's just the phone, Hannah. Phones ring. That's what they do. It's not an attack. Nobody's attacking you. Answer the phone." She answered. "Alpine Lodge Hotel. Good afternoon. This is Hannah. How may I help you?" "Hannah, it's Mrs. Martinez. I'm going to be a bit longer. Problem with the second-floor bathroom. Can you hold down the reception desk?" "Of course," Hannah replied with a confidence she didn't feel one bit. "No problem. Everything's under control. 100% under control. Take all the time you need. It's just 10 more minutes." "Perfect. 10 minutes. Easy. Go solve that bathroom problem. Bathrooms are important. People need bathrooms." Silence on the other end of the line. "Hannah." "Yes?" "Stop talking." "Yes, ma'am." The call ended. Hannah put the phone on the hook and let out all the air from her lungs. 10 minutes, she repeated. "Just 10 minutes. What can happen in 10 minutes? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. You just need to stand here, smiling and not mess anything up. You can go 10 minutes without messing up. You've gone 10 minutes without messing up before. Probably. Maybe. At least once in your life." That's when a black car pulled up at the hotel entrance. Hannah froze. It was an expensive car. The kind of car that didn't make noise when it started. The kind of car that cost more than everything she'd ever owned in her life combined, including her childhood stuffed animal collection. The car door opened. "Don't come in," Hannah muttered, looking at the revolving door. "Please don't come in. Go to another hotel. This hotel is bad, terrible. It has problems with the second-floor bathroom. You don't want to stay here. Go away. For the love of God, go away." The revolving door started to move. "He's coming in." Hannah straightened her posture so fast her spine made a noise. "Okay, no panic. You're a professional. Smile, posture, competence. You're the picture of competence. You radiate competence." The man walked through the door, and Hannah forgot how to breathe. He was tall. He had broad shoulders, dark hair slightly tousled by the wind, and wore a simple coat that somehow looked like it cost a fortune. Sunglasses covered his eyes. No large suitcase. Just a carry-on bag. No assistant, no security, no entourage, just him. Walking toward the desk, walking toward her. "Good afternoon," Hannah said. Her voice came out 2 tones higher than it should have. "Welcome to the Alpine Lodge Hotel. My name is Hannah. How can I help you on this wonderful day?" She'd never called a day wonderful in her life. The man stopped in front of the desk and took off his sunglasses. Hannah discovered his eyes were blue. Very blue. Too blue. The kind of blue that made a person's brain have a blue screen of death. "Thank you," he said. "I have a reservation." "Reservation," Hannah repeated as if it were the most fascinating word in the English language. "Yes, reservations. We have many. That's literally our job. Making reservations. And honoring reservations. Reservations are very important to us here at the Alpine Lodge." She needed to stop talking. Why couldn't she stop talking? "What's the name?" she asked, fingers already positioned on the keyboard. "Whitaker. Ryan Whitaker." Hannah typed, Writaker. The computer found nothing. "Just one moment," she said, smiling. "The system is a little slow today." She deleted and typed again, Whytaker. Nothing. "Our system is very modern," Hannah continued, the smile starting to hurt. "Very modern. State of the art. It's just having a moment. Whittaker. Nothing. The man watched, silent. waiting. Hannah felt a drop of sweat run down her temple. Whitaker is with a W, right? She asked. Right. And it's W-H-I? W-H-I-T-A-K-E-R. One T, just one T. She had put two. Of course, Hannah said, as if she'd known that all along. That's exactly what I was typing. Just wanted to confirm. For security. Security is very important to us here at the Alpine Lodge. She deleted everything and typed it correctly. W-H-I-T-A-K-E-R. The reservation appeared. Hannah almost cried with relief. Found it, she exclaimed. Mr. Whitaker, your reservation is right here. Silence. The man blinked. Whitaker, he corrected. Hannah's blood ran cold. What? You said Whitaker. It's Whitaker, with an H. I said Whitaker? You did. Are you sure? Pretty sure. Hannah wanted to die, right there, behind the desk. A quick and painless death would be ideal. Maybe the floor could open up and swallow her. That happened in some movies. Why couldn't it happen in real life? I'm sorry, she said, feeling her face catch fire. Whitaker, with an H, which is there, in the middle, between the W and the I know where the H goes. I took reading classes, I finished school and everything. The corner of his mouth moved. It was quick. Almost imperceptible. But Hannah saw it. He was trying not to laugh. She looked at the screen, desperate to change the subject, confirm the details. Mountain Suite, 5 nights. Check out on December 26th. Everything's correct, Mr. Whitaker. She pronounced the name with excessive care. Each letter, as if she were defusing a bomb. Not bomb. That word was forbidden, as if she were doing something very delicate and important. That's correct, he confirmed. Great, perfect, wonderful. Hannah bent down to get the room key card and hit her forehead on the drawer. The sound echoed through the empty lobby. Ow, she said, still bent down, hand on her forehead. Are you okay? I'm fine, Hannah replied from under the desk, eyes watering. This happens all the time. It's part of the job, an occupational hazard. Hotel employees hit their heads constantly. It's on some page of the manual I didn't read. She stood up. A red mark was already forming on her forehead. The man, Ryan Whitaker, with an H, watched her with an expression she couldn't decipher. Are you sure you're okay? Absolutely. Hannah handed him the card with both hands. Here you go, Mr. Whitaker. 10th floor, elevators to the left, breakfast from 6 to 10. Spa in the basement, gym on the 3rd floor. If you need anything, call the front desk and ask to speak with literally anyone except me. He took the card. Why not you? The question caught Hannah off guard. Why? What? Why should I ask to speak with anyone except you? Hannah opened her mouth, closed it, opened it again. Because I'm clearly a disaster, she offered. I spelled your name wrong 3 times, called you Whitaker, hit my head on the desk, and now I have a red mark on my forehead that probably looks like a third eye. You deserve better service. You're paying for better service. You're paying a lot of money for better service. Mountain suites aren't cheap. I saw the price list. I almost fainted when I saw the price list. She was talking too much again. Why couldn't she stop talking? You know what? Ryan said, putting the card in his pocket. That was the most honest check-in I've ever had. Hannah blinked. Is that good? That's rare. They looked at each other for a moment. The lobby was empty, silent, just the low sound of background music and Hannah's heart beating too loud in her ears. Thank you, Hannah. He knew her name. Of course he did. She'd said it at the beginning, and it was on her name tag, the huge name tag that shone on her chest like a beacon of embarrassment. You're welcome, she replied. Mr. Whitaker, with an H, which goes between the W and the I, as I already mentioned, several times, because I apparently don't know when to stop talking. His smile appeared again, this time more visible, more real. It's just Ryan, he said. What? My name. You can call me Ryan. Mr. Whitaker makes me feel like my father. And my father wears Argyle sweaters and collects stamps. I haven't reached that level yet. Hannah let out a laugh, a real laugh, unexpected, the kind of laugh that escaped before you could hold it back. And then she realized she'd just laughed in a guest's face. Sorry, she said quickly. That was very unprofessional. I shouldn't laugh. Employees don't laugh. It's probably in the other 170 pages of the manual I didn't read. I'll stop laughing now. There. Stopped. This is my not laughing face. She made a serious expression. It lasted approximately 2 seconds before the corner of her mouth started to twitch. Ryan shook his head, clearly amused. Have a good afternoon, Hannah. You too, Mr. Ryan. Ryan, just Ryan, no Mr., no Whitaker, no H, I mean with an H, but without saying the H, you understand. I understand. He picked up his carry-on bag and walked toward the elevators. Hannah watched him go. Only when he got in the elevator and the doors closed did she allow herself to breathe. "What was that?" she whispered, hands on her face. "What just happened? You hit your head on the desk. You called in Whitaker. You laughed in his face. You mentioned the price list. Who mentions price lists? What kind of professional mentions price lists?" The phone rang. Hannah jumped again. "Stop scaring me," she said to the phone. She answered. "Alpine Lodge Hotel, Hannah speaking." "Hannah, I'm coming up." It was Mrs. Martinez. "Did anything happen?" "No, nothing. Absolutely nothing. Just a completely normal check-in. No incidents. Zero incidents. No foreheads were harmed in the process." Pause. "What forehead?" "No forehead. I said no incidents. You said forehead." "I said incident." "Hannah, I clearly heard the word forehead." "The connection is bad. I think it's cutting out. You're going through a tunnel." "Bye." Hannah hung up and then rested her forehead, the sore, marked, humiliated forehead on the cold desk. "You're a disaster," she murmured against the marble. "A complete and total disaster. If there were an award for disasters, you'd win. Every year, unanimously, they'd have to create a special category just for you." Hannah Brooks, Excellence in Professional Embarrassment. The back door opened. Mrs. Martinez came in, adjusting her glasses. "Hannah, why do you have your head on the desk?" Hannah stood up so fast she got dizzy. "I was cleaning with my forehead. It's a new technique. Very efficient. I saw it on the internet." Mrs. Martinez stared at her for a long moment. The kind of look that said, "I know you're lying, but I don't have the energy for this right now." "Who checked in while I was gone?" "Just one guest. A man. Normal. Ordinary. Nothing special. Just a regular guy with an expensive car and a nice coat and very blue eyes." Hannah paused. "Not that I noticed his eyes. I don't notice guests' eyes. That would be weird and unprofessional and probably illegal in some state." Mrs. Martinez narrowed her eyes. "What was the name?" "Whitaker. Ryan Whitaker, with an H." Mrs. Martinez's face lost all color. "Ryan Whitaker? The Ryan Whitaker?" Hannah frowned. "Is there more than one?" "Hannah." Mrs. Martinez approached the desk. "Ryan Whitaker is the CEO of Whitaker Industries, one of the biggest technology companies in the country. He's in all the business magazines, all the billionaire lists. He's one of the richest and most famous men in the United States." The floor seemed to disappear from under Hannah's feet. "Billionaire?" "Billionaire. With a B?" "With a capital B." Hannah held onto the desk to keep from falling. "I called a billionaire Whitaker." "You called him what?" "And hit my head on the desk." "You did what?" "And talked about the price list." "Hannah," and laughed in his face. Mrs. Martinez took off her glasses and rubbed her eyes. "My God, I didn't know," Hannah said, her voice rising. "He didn't look like a billionaire. I mean, he looked like one, but I thought he was just a regular rich person, a millionaire at most." "How was I supposed to know he was a billionaire? Billionaires should come with a label, a warning, something that says caution, obscene amount of money." "Hannah?" "He said it was the most honest check-in he'd ever had. Is that good or bad? I don't know if that's good or bad." He smiled, but maybe it was a pity smile, a poor disaster of an employee smile. "My God, what if he complains? What if I lose my internship? I need this internship. I have bills, I have rent, I have a plant collection that depends on me to survive. Okay, most of them are already dead, but that's beside the point." "Hannah?" Mrs. Martinez held her shoulders. "Breathe." Hannah breathed. "He said you were honest?" "He did." "And he smiled?" "He smiled." "Then it's probably fine." Mrs. Martinez let go of her shoulders. "Now go to the stockroom. Organize the towels. Stay away from the lobby. And for the love of God, don't talk to any more guests today." "Yes, ma'am." Hannah walked toward the back door, but before leaving she stopped. "Mrs. Martinez?" "What?" "He really is handsome up close." "Hannah, I'm going. She went through the door and disappeared into the employee hallway. Mrs. Martinez shook her head and muttered something about this generation and professionalism. On the 10th floor of the Alpine Lodge Hotel, Ryan Whitaker entered his suite and closed the door. The room was enormous, king-size bed, fireplace burning, panoramic view of the snow-covered mountains. A bottle of champagne waiting in the ice bucket, imported chocolates on the pillow. All the luxury money could buy, and absolutely no one to share it with. Ryan dropped his bag on the floor and went to the window. Aspen glowed below. Christmas lights blinked on the streets. People walked hand in hand through the snow. Couples, families, groups of friends. He was alone, as always. He had come to Aspen to escape. Escape from meetings that never ended. From women who knew his net worth before they knew his name. From calculated smiles and rehearsed conversations. From a world where no one looked at him without seeing dollar signs. He expected to find more of the same here. Employees trained to flatter, guests trying to get close. The same loneliness as always, just with snow in the background. Instead, he found an intern who had spelled his name wrong 3 times. A girl who hit her head on the desk and pretended it was normal. An employee who admitted she hadn't read the hotel manual. A person who looked at him and didn't see a billionaire. Just a guest. Just a man. Just Ryan. With a Y. He let out a low laugh. Rydiker. She had called him Rydiker. And when was the last time someone had made a mistake like that around him? When was the last time someone had been so completely, absolutely, disastrously honest? Ryan couldn't remember. He moved away from the window and looked at the empty room. The loneliness was still there, still weighed heavy, still made the silence seem too loud. But for the first time in a long time, he felt something else. Curiosity, about a nervous intern who talked to herself, an intern named Hannah. The next morning, Hannah dropped a gallon of milk on the employee kitchen floor. It wasn't her fault, technically. It was Ryan Whitaker's fault, who had just walked into the hotel restaurant at the exact moment she was passing through the service door carrying the gallon. "Don't look," she whispered to herself, gripping the container. "Don't look, don't look, don't look." She looked. He was sitting alone at a table near the window. Morning light on his face, dark blue shirt, hair still slightly damp. The gallon slipped. The milk spread across the floor like a public declaration of incompetence. "No," Hannah moaned, looking at the white puddle at her feet. "No, no, no." "Hannah," the chef appeared in the doorway. "What happened?" "Gravity," she replied, already grabbing the cloth. "Gravity happened. It's a very sneaky force, always pulling things down. Someone should do something about it." She cleaned the floor in record time, threw the cloth in the basket, and fled to the stockroom before anyone could ask more questions. The door closed behind her. "You're ridiculous," Hannah said to a shelf of towels. "Completely ridiculous. He wasn't even looking at you. He was having coffee. People have coffee. It's a normal activity. You can't have a breakdown every time you see the man having coffee. He's staying here for 5 days. That's a lot of breakfasts. You need to get control of yourself." She took a deep breath. "Controlled. I'm controlled. Completely and totally controlled." The stockroom door opened. Ryan Whitaker was standing there. Hannah let out a scream. "Sorry," he said, raising his hands. "Didn't mean to scare you." "You didn't scare me," Hannah replied, hand on her chest, heart trying to escape through her ribs. That was a welcoming scream, a hospitable scream, very common in luxury hotels. He looked around the stockroom. "I was looking for the bathroom. The bathroom isn't here. I realize that. This is the stockroom. Also realize that. It has towels. I can see that." Silence. Hannah wished the floor would swallow her, or that the towels would come to life and smother her. Anything would be better than standing there not knowing what to do with her own hands. "The bathroom is at the end of the hall," she managed to say. "To the right, door with a sign. The sign has a picture of a person. You'll recognize it. People usually recognize people." "Thank you," Ryan said, but he didn't move. "You were talking to yourself," he observed. Hannah's face caught fire. Yes, I was rehearsing a speech about towels for a presentation, very important, about the softness of towels and the absorption. Towels absorb things. It's fascinating, if you stop to think about it. Do you always lie this badly? The question caught Hannah off guard. What? Your lies, Ryan said, and there was a gleam in his eyes she couldn't identify. They're terrible. You know that, right? Hannah opened her mouth, closed it, opened it again. I'm aware that lying isn't my strong suit, yes. What is your strong suit? Honestly, talking to myself and dropping things. He laughed, a real laugh, short but real. And Hannah felt something strange happen in her chest, like someone had turned on a light in a room she didn't even know existed. I'm going to, she pointed at the door. I have to. Towels. Organize. Work. Of course. She walked past him, or tried to. The space between Ryan and the shelf was smaller than it looked. She had to turn sideways. Her shoulder brushed against his arm. "Sorry," Hannah murmured, without looking up. "No problem." She left the stockroom practically running. The second encounter happened in the elevator. 3 hours later. Hannah got in carrying a stack of sheets so high she could barely see over it. She pressed the 4th floor button with her elbow. The doors started to close. A hand appeared. The doors reopened. Ryan got in. "Hi again," he said. Hannah froze behind the stack of sheets. "Hi? Want help with that?" "No, everything's under control. I carry sheets all the time. I'm practically a sheet athlete. If there were a sheet Olympics, I'd be a—" She lost her balance. "Medalist." The stack wobbled dangerously. Ryan held the top before everything collapsed. "Thank you," Hannah said, her voice muffled by the fabric. "You're welcome." The elevator went up in silence. Hannah couldn't see his face. She just felt his presence. The warmth, the smell of something expensive she couldn't identify. "You work a lot," Ryan observed. "I need to pay rent." "Don't you have family to help?" The question was simple, normal, but something in Hannah's voice changed when she answered. "Just me." Silence. The elevator stopped on the 4th floor. The doors opened. "This is mine," Hannah said, stepping out with the stack of sheets. "Bye. Have a good day. See you later. Any of those options." The doors started to close. "Hannah." She turned. Ryan was holding the doors open. "Me too," he said. "Just me." The doors closed. The third encounter was in the service hallway at 11 at night. Hannah was returning from an extra shift, feet aching, hair escaping from her bun. She turned a corner and ran right into Ryan, who apparently also couldn't sleep. "We need to stop meeting like this," she said before she could stop herself. He smiled. "Do we?" "No, yes, Hannah sighed. "Why are you in the service hallway at 11 at night?" "Couldn't sleep. The room is too quiet." "Too quiet to sleep? Too quiet to think." She understood. Somehow, she understood. "The ski storage in the basement has a leak," Hannah offered. "Makes a dripping sound all night long. It's not exactly music, but it's not silence. It's not silence." They looked at each other in the empty hallway. "Good night, Hannah," Ryan said softly. "Good night, Ryan." He turned and walked toward the elevator. Hannah watched him go, and when he disappeared from view, she leaned against the wall and let out all the air from her lungs. "What's happening?" she asked the ceiling. "What's happening to you, Hannah Brooks?" The ceiling didn't answer, but her heart knew. On the 10th floor, Ryan entered the luxury room and closed the door. A huge bed waited, empty, cold. He went to the window and looked at the snow outside. 3 encounters in one day. With a clumsy intern who talked to herself and lied terribly. It should be annoying. It wasn't. Ryan pressed his forehead against the cold glass, and for the first time in a long time, the silence didn't feel so heavy. Because now he had something to look forward to the next day. Hannah was almost managing to pretend it was normal to talk to a billionaire in the hallway at 11 at night. Almost. Until that morning in the lobby, when everything fell apart. She was organizing the brochures at the reception desk when a group of 4 women entered the hotel. Expensive clothes, purses that cost as much as cars, the kind of people Hannah saw every day in Aspen. But these were different. Because when Ryan Whitaker crossed the lobby toward the restaurant, all 4 stopped walking at the same time, as if someone had pressed a pause button. "My God," one of them whispered. "It's him." "It's Ryan Whitaker," another confirmed. "I saw his interview on Economics in Focus. He's even more handsome in person. $8 billion, the third sighed, and single. My cousin tried to get close to him at a gala in New York, the fourth said. Security wouldn't even let her get near. Hannah froze behind the desk. Security? He's practically a celebrity, the first one continued. They say any woman he looks at twice becomes a magazine headline. Hannah's blood ran cold. She thought about all the times he had looked at her, in the stockroom, in the elevator, in the hallway. At least 15 times. Is he really single? One asked. Business Magazine said he hasn't been seen with anyone in 2 years. People are betting he's choosing his next wife from among the heiresses who'll be at the Christmas gala. Makes sense. Billionaires marry billionaires. Or at least millionaires. At minimum, someone with a last name that's worth something. All 4 laughed and headed toward the spa. Hannah stood still, the brochures in her hand, her brain repeating a single phrase: billionaires marry billionaires. She had called him Reidecker, had hit her head on the desk in front of him, had recommended a leak as a solution for insomnia. "Excuse me," she said to no one in particular. "I need to go there." She dropped the brochures and walked in a straight line to the back storage room, closed the door, checked if she was alone, and started to freak out. "I'm practically a sheet athlete," she repeated, imitating her own voice. "You said that to a man who has security, real security, to keep people away, and you were there offering information about leaks like it was a local tourist tip." She paced back and forth. "If there were a sheet Olympics, I'd be a medalist." "Medalist, Hannah. You talked about sheet Olympics to a man who appears in economics magazines. Economics, not gossip, not celebrities. Economics. Serious people read about him. People in suits." She stopped and stared at a mop bucket. "And last night, in the hallway?" She covered her face. "You were there, hair messy, sweaty from the extra shift, talking about leaks with a billionaire who probably has a castle somewhere." "A castle, Hannah, with towers, and you offered a ski storage room with a leak." The bucket didn't respond. "Mrs. Martinez warned you," she continued. "On the first day, she said billionaire. She said magazines. She said with a capital B. And what did you think? That it didn't matter? That you could keep treating him like a normal person?" She slid down the wall until she was sitting on the floor. "He's not normal, Hannah. He's the kind of person rich women chase at galas, the kind who appears on lists, the kind who marries heiresses with important last names. And what are you?" Silence. "You're the girl who recommends leaks." The door opened. Hannah stood up so fast she got dizzy. It was Ryan. Again. In the storage room. Again. "You really have a talent for finding this place," Hannah said, her voice coming out strange. He didn't smile. "You're avoiding me." "I'm not. At breakfast you left through the kitchen when you saw me." "I work in the kitchen." "You work at the reception desk." "Sometimes I help in the kitchen." "You were carrying a pineapple like a shield." Hannah closed her eyes. "Okay, I was avoiding you." "Why?" The question hung in the air. Hannah opened her eyes and looked at him, at the man who was worth $8 billion and was standing in a storage room asking why an intern was running away from him. "Because I didn't know," she said. "I mean, I knew. Mrs. Martinez told me, but I didn't understand. I thought being a billionaire was just having a lot of money. I didn't know it meant security, and magazines, and women stopping in their tracks when you walk by." Ryan stayed silent. "I saw it today," Hannah continued. "In the lobby. 4 women. The way they talked about you, like you were." She searched for the word, a prize, an achievement, something that people like me shouldn't even look at. "Hannah," and I kept thinking about everything I said. Reidecker, sheets, leaks. She let out a humorless laugh. "You must think I'm a joke. I think you're the only honest person I've met in years." Hannah blinked. "What?" "You called me Reidecker," Ryan said, taking a step toward her, "and hit your head on the desk, and told me I deserved better service than yours, and recommended a leak to help me sleep. Those are arguments against me. They're arguments in favor." He took another step. "Everyone I know knows exactly who I am. They research before talking to me, rehearse what they're going to say, calculate every word." Another step. "You called me Reidecker. You already mentioned that, because it's the most real thing anyone's done around me in years." Hannah couldn't breathe. He was too close now, too close for her to pretend she didn't feel the warmth, too close to ignore the blue eyes. "I'm not from your world," she whispered. "So what?" "So what?" "You're a billionaire. I'm an intern who talks to herself." "I know. That doesn't bother you?" Ryan smiled, that small smile she had learned to recognize. "That's the only thing that doesn't bother me." Hannah's heart was beating so hard she was certain he could hear it. She started. The storage room door burst open. A woman walked in, dark hair, red dress, smile that didn't reach her eyes, and she looked from Ryan to Hannah with an expression that made the air in the storage room freeze. "Ryan, darling," the woman said, her voice sweet as poison, "I was looking for you everywhere, and I find you here, in a storage room, with the helper." Hannah felt her stomach sink, because she knew that type of woman, and that type of woman had just declared war. Vanessa Clark wore a perfume that probably cost more than Hannah's rent. It was the kind of detail you noticed when the woman was standing in front of you, looking at you as if she were evaluating a particularly uninteresting insect. Ryan, Vanessa repeated, completely ignoring Hannah's existence. I called your room 3 times. Your assistant said you were in the hotel, but nobody knew where, and now I find you here. She looked around the storage room as if the shelves of towels were personally offensive. Vanessa, Ryan said, and his voice had lost all the warmth of the past few minutes. What are you doing in Aspen? The same thing as you, darling, the Christmas gala. She smiled. Your mother invited me personally, said it would be a great opportunity for us to reconnect. Hannah saw Ryan stiffen. My mother didn't have that right? She's your mother. She has every right. Vanessa's smile was unshakable. The kind of smile people practiced in front of the mirror until it looked natural. Well, Hannah said, taking a step toward the door. I'm just gonna go. I have towels to fold. Lots of towels. An impressive amount of towels. Excuse me. She tried to get past Vanessa. Vanessa didn't move. How long have you worked here? The question came softly, casually, like a knife disguised as a silk handkerchief. 6 months, Hannah answered. I'm an intern. Intern. Vanessa savored the word. How charming. And does your internship include private conversations with guests in storage rooms? Hannah's face caught fire. She was helping me, Ryan interrupted, with a hotel matter. Vanessa raised a perfectly shaped eyebrow. In the towel storage room? It was a towel-related matter. A towel matter that required the 2 of you to be alone in a closed space? It was a very complex towel matter. Hannah wanted to laugh and cry at the same time. Ryan Whitaker, Billionaire, CEO, was inventing a towel emergency to protect her. Of course, Vanessa said finally. Towel matter. She turned to Ryan. Well, now that the matter is resolved, can we have lunch? The restaurant here has an acceptable wine list. Ryan didn't move. I already had lunch. It's 10 in the morning. I had an early lunch. Then coffee. Already had coffee. A second coffee. I'm avoiding caffeine. Hannah was watching what could only be described as a verbal tennis match, and Ryan was winning through pure stubbornness. Ryan, Vanessa said, her voice with a note of steel. We have a lot to talk about. Your mother's worried. This isolation phase of yours isn't healthy. She took a step and placed her hand on his arm. The hand climbed up Ryan's arm like a spider with painted nails. Hannah felt something tighten in her chest. I need to go, she said, her voice coming out lower. Excuse me. She passed Vanessa, opened the door, and left. She didn't run, but almost. In the employee kitchen, Melissa Rodriguez was finishing her 3rd coffee of the day. Melissa was 27 years old, had worked at the Alpine Lodge for 4 years, and had a special talent for 2 things: making gossip last and telling truths nobody wanted to hear. She was the kind of coworker you avoided when you wanted peace and sought out when you needed information. Hannah walked into the kitchen looking like she'd seen a ghost. Wow, Melissa said, lowering her mug. Who ripped out your soul? Nobody. You're white? That's my natural color. Your natural color is pink. Now you're like paper, like milk, like... I get it. Melissa narrowed her eyes. Does this have to do with the guest on the 10th floor? Hannah froze. No. Lie. How do you know? Because you make that face every time someone mentions him. Melissa crossed her arms. And because I saw a woman in red going into the storage room after you. Tall. Dark hair. Villain face. Hannah leaned against the wall. Vanessa something. Seems like she knows Ryan. Knows him how? I don't know. His mother invited her to the gala. Melissa whistled low. Official family suitor? Apparently. That's complicated. It's not complicated. There's nothing to complicate. He's a guest. I'm an employee. Melissa let out a laugh. Hannah, the man asked for you by name for room service. That was Hannah from Towels. Those were his exact words. He called the front desk and specifically asked for Hannah from Towels. Who does that? Someone polite? Someone interested? Melissa. And that wasn't all. Melissa raised her fingers to count. He looked for you in the storage room. Twice. He invented a towel emergency to defend you, and according to Carla from housekeeping, he asked what your work schedule was. Hannah's eyes widened. He what? Asked about your schedule. To Carla. Who told me? Who's telling you now? You're welcome. That doesn't mean anything. It means a billionaire is interested in you. Billionaires don't get interested in interns. This one clearly is. Hannah shook her head. It doesn't matter. That you saw the woman in red, that's his world. People who have wine lists memorized. People his mother approves of. I'm the girl who recommends leeks. Melissa was silent for a moment. Be careful, okay? She said, more gently. Those kinds of people, they don't live in the same world as us. And when they leave, we're the ones left picking up the pieces. Hannah swallowed hard. I know. You know, but you don't believe it. She had no answer. Because Melissa was right. That night, Hannah was leaving her shift when she saw Vanessa in the lobby. The woman was sitting in a velvet armchair, legs crossed, a drink in her hand. She looked like a bored queen observing her subjects. When her eyes met Hannah's, she smiled. Not a polite smile, a smile of promise. Hannah looked away and walked toward the exit. But before reaching the door, she heard Vanessa's voice, clear and crystalline. Sweetheart? Hannah stopped. I saw you looking at him. Hannah's heart raced. I don't know what you're talking about. Vanessa took a sip of her drink. Of course you do, and I'm going to give you some advice, woman to woman. She placed the glass on the table. Ryan Whitaker isn't for people like you, he's for people like me. The sooner you understand that, the less you'll suffer. Hannah felt her face burn. I'm just an employee. Then act like one. Vanessa's smile didn't waver. Hannah turned and left the hotel. The freezing aspen air hit her face, but she barely felt it, because Vanessa's words were burning more than any cold. And the worst part was that, deep down, Hannah thought she was right. Hannah spent 2 days avoiding Ryan Whitaker, as if her life depended on it. And considering her job definitely depended on it, it wasn't exactly an exaggeration. She switched shifts with Melissa, used stairs instead of elevators, developed an almost supernatural ability to sense when he was about to enter a room and leave through another door. On the 3rd day, she thought she had won. She was wrong. You're avoiding me. Hannah jumped so high she dropped the roll of paper towels she was holding. The roll fell to the floor and rolled down the service hallway as if it were trying to escape the situation too. Ryan was standing in the doorway, arms crossed, eyebrow raised. I'm not, Hannah said, running after the paper towels. I'm busy, very busy, extremely busy. I've never been this busy in my life. You switched shifts 3 times. Flexible scheduling. It's a quality of mine. You walked down 14 flights of stairs yesterday. Exercise. Very healthy. Good for the legs. You hid behind a plant when you saw me in the restaurant. Hannah froze with the paper towels in her hand. It was a very interesting plant. It was a cactus. Cacti are fascinating. You stayed there for 20 minutes. I was studying photosynthesis of cacti. Ryan took a step toward her. Do cacti photosynthesize differently from other plants? They do. Probably. I'm not a biologist. Then why were you studying it? Because... Hannah closed her eyes. Okay, I was avoiding you. Happy? Not particularly. She opened her eyes. Ryan was closer now. Close enough for her to see he hadn't slept well. Slight dark circles, hair less neat than usual. Why? He asked. What did I do? Nothing. Hannah, you didn't do anything. Then why are you running from me? The question hung in the air. Hannah looked at the paper towels in her hands, at the empty hallway, at anywhere that wasn't his blue eyes. Because you're you, she finally said. And I'm me. That doesn't make sense. It makes perfect sense. Explain. Ryan, explain. She let the air out of her lungs. You're a billionaire. You appear in magazines. You have a beautiful woman chasing you around the hotel. A woman your mother approves of. A woman who wears perfume that costs more than my car. You have a car? No, but if I did, her perfume would cost more. The corner of his mouth moved. Continue. The point is, Hannah said, ignoring the urge to smile, that you're from one world and I'm from another. Literally. You live in penthouses. I share an apartment with a girl who collects porcelain cats. You dine at restaurants with stars. I eat instant noodles watching reruns of old shows. I like instant noodles. You're lying. I am. They're terrible, but I'd eat them if you were eating them too. Hannah felt her heart do something strange. That's not fair. What's not fair? You. Being like this? Like what? Like this? She gestured vaguely, saying things that make it seem like this could. She couldn't finish the sentence. Ryan took another step. Like this could what? Work, Hannah whispered. Like this could work. Silence. They were in the service hallway. Beige walls, fluorescent light, smell of cleaning products, the least romantic place in the universe. And yet Hannah had never felt her heart beat so hard. What if it could? Ryan asked quietly. It can't. Why not? Because real life doesn't work that way. How do you know? Because I live in it. In real life, where interns don't end up with billionaires, where the girl from the storage room doesn't get the prince, where I'm not a prince. You're worse. You're a prince who seems normal. He laughed, a real laugh. Low. The kind that escaped before you could hold it back. Is that an insult? It's an observation. It's a very specific observation. I have many specific observations about you. Like what? Hannah bit her lip. Like, you tilt your head when you're confused, like a child. You scratch your eyebrow when you're thinking. You smile more with your eyes than with your mouth, and you stand in service hallways talking to interns when you should be doing billionaire things. Ryan looked at her in a way that made her want to run and stay at the same time. You noticed all that? I notice a lot of things. It's a problem. My brain doesn't shut off. That's not a problem. It is when the things you notice are impossible. He reached out his hand, slowly, as if he were afraid of scaring her. His fingers brushed against hers. Hannah held her breath. What if I told you, Ryan murmured, that you're the least impossible thing I've found in years? She couldn't think, couldn't breathe, couldn't do anything but look into those blue eyes and feel the warmth of his fingers against hers. Ryan? The hallway door burst open with a bang. They both jumped back as if they'd received an electric shock. Melissa appeared, chewing gum, completely oblivious to the moment she had just destroyed. Hannah, Mrs. Martinez is looking for you. Something about organizing tomorrow's gala. Tomorrow? Hannah blinked. The gala is tomorrow? Yes. Why, did you forget? Hannah had forgotten, completely. She looked at Ryan. He looked at her. I have to go, she said. I know. This, she pointed to the space between them. This can't. I know. But the way he said it didn't sound like agreement. It sounded like a promise. Hannah turned and followed Melissa down the hallway. She didn't look back, but she felt his gaze the entire way. And when she turned the corner, she allowed herself to lean against the wall and let out her breath. Are you okay? Melissa asked. No. What happened back there? Hannah looked at her own hand. She could still feel the ghost of his touch. I think I'm having feelings, she said. Feelings? Feelings. For a billionaire. In the service hallway. Melissa whistled. Girl, you're in trouble. Hannah rested her head against the wall. I know. Tomorrow was the gala, and she had a feeling everything was about to change. The Alpine Lodge Hotel had transformed into something that looked like it came out of a movie about people who were too rich. Hannah was standing at the entrance to the ballroom, tray in hand, mouth open, trying to process the absurd amount of luxury in front of her. Crystal chandeliers the size of small cars, tables decorated with flowers that had probably been imported from another continent, a Christmas tree so tall it needed an industrial ladder to put the star on top. And everywhere people dressed as if money were a competition and everyone was trying to win. Close your mouth, Melissa whispered beside her. You look like a tourist. I am a tourist. In this world, I'm a complete tourist. You're a waitress, with a tray, who should be circulating. Right. Hannah straightened her posture. Waitress, tray, circulate, I can do this. She took the first step and almost tripped over her own foot. For the love of God, Melissa grabbed her elbow. What's wrong with you? Nervousness. It's a medical condition. It affects my legs. Nervousness isn't a medical condition. It should be. I should have a note. Someone should give me a note. Melissa rolled her eyes and disappeared into the crowd with her own tray. Hannah took a deep breath. You can do this, she murmured to the champagne glasses. We can do this. It's just walking, smiling, offering drinks, not dropping anything, not looking at anyone specific, especially not looking at blue-eyed billionaires who keep touching your hand in service hallways. She started walking, swerved around an elderly couple, went around a table, offered champagne to a woman in a gold dress who took the glass without even looking at her. Normal. Expected. Waitresses were invisible in this world. It was better that way. Hannah kept circulating. Crowded ballroom, orchestra music, polite laughter, the smell of expensive perfumes mixed with the aroma of food she could never afford. And then she saw him. Ryan was on the other side of the ballroom, black tuxedo, hair slicked back, standing in the center of a group of people who were clearly competing for his attention. Vanessa was beside him, red dress, hand possessively resting on his arm. Victory smile. Hannah felt her stomach sink. This was it. This was his world. Shiny people in shiny clothes having conversations about shiny things, and he was at the center of it all, exactly where he belonged. She was just a waitress with a tray. Champagne? Hannah turned. A man about 60 years old was looking at her expectantly. Oh, yes, of course. She extended the tray. Champagne, that's what I have. On the tray, which is mine. I mean the hotel's. I'm just holding it. The man took a glass with a confused expression and walked away. Stop talking, Hannah whispered to herself. Stop talking. Stop talking. Stop talking. She kept walking. Another lap around the ballroom. More glasses distributed, more smiles ignored, and at some point, without meaning to, without planning, she looked toward the center of the ballroom again. Ryan was looking directly at her. The world seemed to stop. Not literally, of course. The orchestra kept playing. People kept talking. Vanessa kept smiling beside him as if she owned the man. But for 1 second, a single second, there were only the two of them. He in his world, she in hers, and an entire ballroom of impossibilities between them. Ryan moved his lips, without sound, but Hannah could read it. Hi. She felt her face heat up, and before she could control herself, she responded the same way. Hi, Vanessa noticed. Hannah saw the exact moment when the woman's eyes followed Ryan's gaze. Saw her smile freeze for a fraction of a second. Saw her hand squeeze his arm harder. And then Vanessa turned and looked directly at Hannah. The smile returned, but it was different now. It was the smile of someone who had just identified a problem and was planning to eliminate it. Hannah looked away. Her heart was beating so hard she was certain the champagne glasses were shaking. Circulating, she murmured. I should be circulating. Waitresses circulate. That's what waitresses do, circulate. Walk, not stand around staring at billionaires while their girlfriends plan murder. She turned and walked in the opposite direction. Fast, focused, professional, and tripped over a light cord on the floor. The tray wobbled dangerously. The glass slid. Hannah made a movement that could only be described as desperate attempt to avoid disaster, and managed, miraculously, to balance everything before anything fell. Whew, she whispered. Are you okay? The voice came from behind her. Hannah froze. She knew that voice. She turned slowly. Ryan was there. He had crossed the entire ballroom, left the group of important people, left Vanessa behind, and he was standing in front of her, looking as if nothing else in the ballroom mattered. What are you doing? Hannah whispered, eyes wide. Everyone's watching. I don't care. Ryan? You almost fell. I almost fall all the time. It's a characteristic of mine. It doesn't justify causing a scene. I'm not causing a scene. You literally crossed a ballroom full of rich people to ask if a waitress is okay. That's a scene. He smiled. That small smile she had learned to recognize. The one that only appeared when he found something genuinely funny. Then let it be a scene. Hannah didn't know what to say. Behind Ryan, she could see the entire ballroom watching. Whispers starting, eyebrows raising, cell phones being subtly pulled out, and Vanessa standing where he had left her with an expression that promised consequences. You need to go back, Hannah said quietly. Your friend is waiting. She's not my friend. You're, whatever, the woman in red, the one your mother likes. My mother likes a lot of things I don't like. Ryan, Hannah, they stared at each other. The ballroom kept watching, and Hannah realized with painful clarity that it didn't matter what she felt. It didn't matter what he felt. That world would never be hers. Please, she whispered, go away. Something passed through his eyes, something that looked like pain. If that's what you want. It wasn't. God, it wasn't. But she nodded anyway. Ryan stood there for one more second, 2, 3, and then turned and walked back toward the center of the ballroom. Hannah watched him go, and when Vanessa slid back to his side with a triumphant smile, Hannah felt something inside her break. That's when Vanessa's hand, accidentally, bumped into a waitress passing by, and an entire tray of champagne flew toward Hannah. The champagne hit Hannah in slow motion. At least that's how it seemed. She saw the glasses tipping, saw the golden liquid forming an arc in the air, saw her entire career flashing before her eyes. And then she was drenched. The entire ballroom froze. 400 people held their breath at the same time. The orchestra stopped playing. Someone dropped a fork. The sound of metal against marble echoed like a sentence. Hannah was standing in the middle of the most exclusive ballroom in Aspen, covered in champagne, holding an empty tray, wishing the floor would open up and swallow her. "Oh my God," she heard someone whisper. "Poor thing," said another voice. "Who is that?" asked a third. Hannah wanted to answer, "Nobody, I'm nobody, please go back to ignoring my existence," but her mouth wasn't working. Actually, nothing was working. Vanessa took a step forward, hand on her chest, expression of horror perfectly rehearsed. "Oh dear," she exclaimed, loud enough for the entire ballroom to hear. "What a disaster. I tried to move out of the way, but you just appeared out of nowhere." Hannah blinked. The champagne was dripping down her face, down her uniform, down what was left of her dignity. She started. "These things happen," Vanessa continued, the pity smile so fake it should have come with a warning label. "You should be more careful where you walk." Hannah's brain finally started working again, and the first thing it did was go into panic mode. "I'm sorry," she said, looking at the empty tray. "I'm so sorry, very sorry. Tray, I apologize. You didn't deserve this. No tray deserves this." She looked at the floor. "Floor, sorry to you too. And glasses, poor glasses. They were so beautiful. They had their whole lives ahead of them, full of champagne, making rich people happy, and now they're—" "Hannah?" Mrs. Martinez's voice cut through the air. Hannah looked up. Her supervisor was standing 3 meters away, her owl glasses gleaming under the chandeliers, the expression of someone calculating exactly how many forms of termination existed. "In my office," Mrs. Martinez said. "Now." "Yes, ma'am. Of course, I'll just—" Hannah looked around. "Clean up? Should I clean up? I probably should clean up. Can't leave champagne on the floor. Someone might slip. That would be a lawsuit. Lawsuits are bad, for the hotel and for me, especially for me." "Hannah, I'm going. She took a step, and that's when she heard the voice. I saw what happened. The ballroom, which was already silent, became even more silent. Ryan was standing 5 meters from Vanessa. The expression on his face was something Hannah had never seen before. Calm, controlled, and absolutely ice-cold. "Ryan," Vanessa began, the smile faltering for the first time. "Darling, it was an accident. The girl simply—" "I saw," he repeated. "I was watching. I saw your elbow. I saw the movement. I saw everything." Vanessa's face lost a shade of color. "I don't know what you're talking about." "Yes, you do." Ryan took a step forward, then another, until he was standing between Vanessa and Hannah like a human wall. "It wasn't her fault," he said, turning to Mrs. Martinez. "It was a provoked accident, intentionally." The murmuring began, whispers everywhere, cell phones being raised, the kind of scandal that would fuel gossip for months. Vanessa let out a nervous laugh. "Ryan, you're exaggerating. Why would I do something like that? Do you want me to answer that here, in front of everyone?" Silence. Vanessa looked around, at the curious faces, at the cell phones filming, at her reputation balanced on the edge of a knife. "This is ridiculous," she said, but her voice had lost its strength. Ryan didn't move. "The hotel staff will take care of cleaning your dress," he said, pointing to the small champagne stain that had splashed on her too. "On the house. I'm sure you'll want to compose yourself." It wasn't a suggestion. It was a dismissal. Vanessa opened her mouth, closed it, opened it again, and then, with all the dignity she could muster, she turned and walked toward the bathroom, her heels echoing in the silence, her head held high, the smile back on her face but trembling at the edges. Hannah watched her go, and then realized everyone was looking at her. She started. Ryan turned. "Are you okay? I'm covered in champagne." "I know, but are you okay?" Hannah felt her eyes burn. "I'm about to be fired in front of 400 people, so no, I'm probably not okay." "You're not going to be fired. You're not my boss." "No." He looked at Mrs. Martinez. "But I can be very persuasive." Mrs. Martinez, who had watched everything with her mouth open, finally recovered the ability to speak. "Mr. Whitaker, the situation is, we need to follow protocol." "Does the protocol say anything about punishing employees for accidents they didn't cause?" "No, but—" "Then I don't see a reason for termination." Silence. Mrs. Martinez looked at Hannah, at Ryan, at the ballroom full of people filming. "Go clean yourself up," she finally said to Hannah. "Get a spare uniform. Come back when you're presentable." Hannah blinked. I'm not going to be fired? Not today? And tomorrow? Tomorrow we'll talk. Now go." Hannah didn't need to hear it twice. She turned and walked toward the back door, leaving a trail of champagne on the marble floor. But before leaving, she looked back. Ryan was still standing in the middle of the ballroom, 400 people watching, whispers everywhere. His reputation as a private man probably in pieces, and he was smiling at her. That small smile, the one that said, "I protect you." Hannah felt something warm in her chest, something dangerous, something that felt a lot like hope. She pushed the door and disappeared backstage, and only when she was alone in the employee hallway did she allow herself to lean against the wall, covered in champagne, and whisper, "He defended me." Her voice trembled. In front of everyone. He defended me. And for the first time since she had set foot in that hotel, Hannah Brooks began to believe that maybe, just maybe, impossible wasn't a definitive word. Hannah was sitting on the floor of the employee locker room, still smelling of expensive champagne, when the door opened. She didn't even look up. "Melissa, I already told you. I'm fine. I just need a minute, or 60 minutes alone questioning all my life choices." "I'm not Melissa." Hannah froze. She slowly raised her head. Ryan Whitaker was standing in the doorway of the women's employee locker room, in a tuxedo, completely out of place, looking at her as if finding drenched interns on the floor was the most normal thing in the world. "You can't be here," Hannah said, standing up so fast she got dizzy. "I know. This is the women's locker room. I saw the sign, for employees. I saw that sign too." "Then why are you here?" "Because you're here." Hannah opened her mouth, closed it, opened it again. "That's not a logical answer." "It doesn't need to be logical. It needs to be true." She leaned against the wall, suddenly very aware that her hair was stuck to her face. Her uniform looked like it had survived a beverage war, and she probably smelled like fermented grapes. "You should go back to the party," she said. "The party is boring. There are 400 people there. 400 boring people. There's expensive food. Expensive food can also be boring. There's Vanessa." Ryan made a face. "That's the worst argument so far." Hannah let out a laugh. A real laugh, unexpected, that escaped before she could hold it back. "You ruined your reputation," she said. "Because of me. Everyone saw. Everyone filmed. Tomorrow it'll be on all the gossip sites." "I know. Billionaire causes scene at gala to defend waitress. I can see the headline. There'll probably be a bad picture of me too." "You don't take bad pictures. You'd be surprised." Silence. Ryan took a step into the locker room. The door closed behind him. "You're shaking," he observed. Hannah looked at her own hands. He was right. "Adrenaline," she said. "Or hypothermia. Cold champagne, you know. Very refreshing. 0 stars would not recommend as a bath." He took off his tuxedo jacket. "What are you doing?" Hannah asked, eyes wide. "Giving you my jacket." "I don't need your jacket." "You're shaking." "I shake. It's a thing I do. Personal characteristic, like talking to myself, or tripping over cords, or ruining Christmas galas." Ryan approached and placed the jacket over her shoulders. Hannah held her breath. The fabric was warm, smelled like something expensive and masculine. And now it was on her, as if it belonged there. "Thank you," she whispered, "for this, and for, there, in the ballroom, for defending me. You don't need to thank me." "Yes, I do. Nobody ever," she swallowed hard. "Nobody ever did that for me. Stood by my side, in front of everyone." Ryan was silent for a moment. "Me neither," he said quietly. Hannah frowned. "You neither what? Have someone who stands by my side. You're a billionaire. You have thousands of people. People who want something. People who smile to my face and talk behind my back. People who know my net worth before my name." He leaned against the wall beside her, shoulder to shoulder, the billionaire in a tuxedo and the waitress smelling of champagne. "You were the first person in years," Ryan continued, "who looked at me and didn't see a dollar sign. Who called me Whitaker. Who said I deserved better service than she could offer. That was embarrassing. It was honest. It was pathetic. It was real." Hannah turned her head and looked at him. He was looking at her, too close, too real. "This can't work," she said, her voice shaking. "You know that, right? I'm me and you're you. They're different universes, different galaxies. I don't even know which fork to use at fancy dinners. I eat pizza on the couch watching reruns. I talk to myself in public places. Hannah, what? You're talking to yourself now." She closed her eyes. "See? That's what I do. I freak out. I talk too much. I complicate everything. You should run. Normal people run from me. I'm not normal. You're a billionaire. Exactly. Normalcy was never an option. She opened her eyes. Ryan was smiling, that small smile, the one she had learned to recognize, the one that only appeared when something was genuinely true. I don't know how to do this, Hannah whispered. I don't know how to be the billionaire's girl. I don't know how to wear expensive dresses, don't know how to talk to important people, don't know how to be elegant or sophisticated or… I don't want elegant. What do you want then? You. The word hung in the air. Simple. Direct. Impossible. You've known me for 5 days, Hannah said. Long enough. Long enough for what? To know you're the first real thing I've found in years. Hannah felt her eyes burn. This is crazy. Probably. People will talk. Let them talk. Vanessa will try to destroy me. I won't let her. Your mother will hate me. My mother hates everyone. You'll be in good company. Hannah laughed, a wet laugh, half sob, half joy. You're impossible, she said. So are you. That's not a compliment. Yes, it is. Silence. Ryan raised his hand, slowly, as if asking permission. His fingers touched her face, pushed away a strand of hair stuck to her cheek. Hannah stopped breathing. Can I kiss you? He asked quietly. I'm covered in champagne. That's not what I asked, and my hair looks like a disaster. That's not it either, and I'll probably say something embarrassing afterward. You definitely will. And you still want to? Still. Hannah looked at him, at the blue eyes, at the small smile, at the man who had crossed a ballroom, ruined his reputation, and invaded a women's locker room just to find her. Yes, she whispered. And when his lips met hers, the world stopped making sense. But for the first time, Hannah didn't care. Because there, in the employee locker room, smelling of champagne and wearing a billionaire's jacket, she finally felt exactly where she should be. In the next 3 days, Hannah Brooks became an expert at lying badly. Where were you? Melissa asked on Tuesday morning, when Hannah showed up in the kitchen with snow in her hair and a suspicious smile. Walking. At 6 a.m? I like fresh air. You hate waking up early. People change, Melissa. In 3 days, it was a quick change. Melissa narrowed her eyes but let it go. On Wednesday, it was worse. Why are you smiling at your phone? Melissa appeared out of nowhere behind her. Hannah almost dropped the phone in the sink. Nothing. Cat video. Very funny. You know how cats are. Doing cat things. Hilarious. You don't like cats. Yes, I do. You said cats look at you like they're planning your murder. I was being dramatic. You were being honest. Hannah put her phone in her pocket with enough force to almost tear it. I need to go. Towels. Lots of towels. And she left practically running. The truth was that the phone had a message from Ryan. Ski storage. 15 minutes. Bring coffee. That's how it worked now. Short messages, quick meetings, stolen moments between shifts. That morning, Hannah went down to the basement with 2 cups of coffee smuggled from the kitchen, her heart beating as if she were committing a federal crime. Ryan was already there, sitting on a pile of yoga mats, looking completely out of place in the middle of dusty ski equipment. You're late, he said. You're sitting on yoga mats. It was either these or the skis. The skis seemed uncomfortable. Hannah sat next to him and handed him the coffee. This is ridiculous, she said. I agree. We're hiding in a storage room. Yes, you're a billionaire. You could be anywhere in the world. I could. And you're in a basement that smells like mold. But with you. Hannah tried not to smile, failed miserably. Is that a pickup line? Was it bad? It was terrible. I'll get better. Please don't. He laughed. That low laugh she had learned to love in the past few days. It was easy with him. Easier than it should be. Conversations flowed. Silences weren't awkward. He didn't expect her to be different from what she was, and that terrified her. Hey, Ryan said, noticing the change in her face. Where did you go? Nowhere. Lie. How do you know? You scrunch your nose when you lie. Hannah covered her nose instinctively. I don't scrunch. You're scrunching now. This is nose stalking. It's observation. Of noses? Of your nose specifically. She rolled her eyes but felt things warm in her chest. The fact that he paid attention, that he noticed little things, that he cared. It was dangerous. It was very dangerous. I'm just… She started and stopped. I'm afraid. Of what? Of getting used to it. Ryan was silent. To this, Hannah continued, pointing to the space between them. To you. to coffee in storage rooms and secret messages and feeling like maybe this is real. It is real. But for how long? The question hung in the air. Ryan put his coffee on the floor and turned to face her. You think I'm going to leave? You're going to leave. Tomorrow is your last day. You'll go back to your life, your companies, your meetings, and I'll stay here folding towels and pretending this didn't happen. Who says you're staying? Hannah blinked. What? Who says you're staying here? I work here. There are other jobs. In other places. Exactly. Ryan, are you suggesting that I'm suggesting we talk about options. No pressure, no expectations, just options. Hannah opened her mouth to respond. That's when they heard footsteps. They both froze. The footsteps approached, stopped on the other side of the door. A female voice said something inaudible. Hannah held her breath. Ryan placed his hand over hers. A silent gesture of calm down, we're in this together. The footsteps moved away. They exhaled at the same time. That was intense. I was going to say terrifying. That works too. Hannah looked at their hands, still intertwined. We look like two teenagers hiding. Technically, we are hiding. You're a CEO. CEOs hide sometimes too. In ski storage rooms, when the company is good. She smiled. Couldn't help it. You're impossible. You already said that. I'll keep saying it until you believe it. Ryan leaned in and kissed her forehead. I have a video conference in 20 minutes, he said. But tonight, after your shift, meet me in the back garden. It's snowing. I know. It'll be freezing. I know. Why the garden? He smiled. Surprise. Hannah groaned. I hate surprises. You'll like this one. How do you know? Because I know you. It's been 5 days. Long enough. She shook her head but was smiling. Okay. Back garden. After my shift. Perfect. He stood up, straightened his coat and walked to the door. Ryan. He turned. Thank you, Hannah said, for all of this. I haven't done anything yet. Yes, you have. You made me believe that maybe it's worth the risk. Something passed through his eyes. Something warm. Something that looked a lot like love. It is, he said. I promise it is. And he left. Hannah sat in the storage room for 5 more minutes, smiling like an idiot, her heart full of something she couldn't name. That's when her phone buzzed. It wasn't Ryan. It was an unknown number. The message had only a photo of Ryan entering the ski storage room, and underneath, 3 words that made Hannah's blood run cold. I know everything. The message had been from Vanessa. Obviously. Hannah found that out 2 hours later, when the entire hotel seemed to know something she didn't. Whispers in the hallways. Strange looks in the kitchen. Melissa appeared with an expression that mixed pity and alarm. What's happening? Hannah asked. You didn't see? See what? Melissa showed her phone. It was a post on a gossip social media page. A photo of Ryan entering the storage room. Another one of him leaving, smiling. And a caption that made Hannah's stomach turn. Billionaire CEO Ryan Whitaker caught in secret meetings with hotel employee. Sources say the ambitious waitress already had her eye on him before his arrival. Gold digger or true love? Gold digger, Hannah repeated, her voice empty. They think I know it's not true, Melissa said quickly. Anyone who knows you knows that. But the people who don't know me will believe what they want. Hannah felt the floor disappear. I need to talk to him. Hannah, wait. But she was already walking. She crossed the kitchen, went up the service stairs, reached the 10th floor with her heart racing and knocked on Ryan's suite door. He opened it, and the expression on his face made her stop. It wasn't exactly anger. It was something worse. It was doubt. You saw, Hannah said. I saw. It's not true. I know. Then why are you looking at me like that? Ryan ran his hand through his hair, a gesture of frustration she had never seen in him. My PR team called. The story is spreading. They're saying you gave interviews, that you sold details about me. What? Hannah felt the air leave her lungs. Ryan, I would never do that. I know. Then why does it seem like you don't believe me? Because there are quotes. He finally raised his voice. There are quotes with things only you would know, about the ski storage room, about the leak, about me not being able to sleep because of the silence. Hannah froze. I never told anyone that. Then how do they know? I don't know. Maybe someone heard. Maybe Vanessa. Vanessa wasn't in the storage room, but she sent the message. She took the photo. Ryan, she's behind this. Do you have proof? Hannah opened her mouth, closed it, She didn't. The message was from an unknown number. The photo could have been taken by anyone. And the quotes were her words. Things she had said. Things that could have been heard by any employee passing through the hallway. "I didn't do this," she said, her voice breaking. "You know me. You know who I am." "I thought I did." The sentence hit Hannah like a punch. "Thought?" Ryan closed his eyes for a second. "I'm not saying you did it. I'm saying I don't know what's true anymore. My whole life, Hannah, people approached me wanting something, always. And I thought you were different. I am different. Then prove it to me." "How?" Tears started flowing. "How do I prove I didn't do something I didn't do? You want me to take a lie detector test? Take an oath? Do a ritual dance?" He didn't laugh. Normally he would have laughed, and the fact that he didn't laugh said everything. "I need time," Ryan said, "to think, to figure this out." "Time? Just a few days. Days when you'll be looking at me and wondering if I'm a scammer." "That's not it." "That's exactly it." Silence. Hannah wiped her tears forcefully, anger mixed with pain. "You know what's funny?" she said, her voice shaking. "I warned you, at the beginning. I said this wasn't going to work, that we were from different worlds, that people like you don't end up with people like me." "Hannah." "But you insisted. You said I was real, that I was the least impossible thing you'd found, and I believed you." She let out a bitter laugh. "I believed in a fairy tale." "It's not a fairy tale. It's just a complicated situation. For you, it's complicated. For me, it's my life, my reputation, my job." "Your job is safe. I talked to management." "I don't want you to talk to management," Hannah exploded. "I don't want you to solve my problems. I want you to believe me." The sentence echoed in the room. Ryan stayed silent, and Hannah understood. He couldn't. Not completely. Not after a lifetime of being deceived by people who wanted something from him. The doubt was planted, and doubt was enough to destroy everything. "I'm leaving," she said, her voice empty now. "Hannah, don't. Not from the hotel, from Aspen, from all of this. You don't need to." "Yes, I do." She walked to the door. "I'm not staying in a place where people think I'm a gold digger. I'm not staying with someone who her voice failed, who needs proof to believe me. Give me a week. I'll find out who did this. And if you don't—" Silence. That was the answer. Hannah opened the door. "Hannah, wait." She stopped but didn't turn around. "I'm sorry," Ryan said, "for all of this." "Me too." And she left. She didn't run, didn't cry. Walked down the hallway with her head held high until she reached the service stairs. Only then did she allow herself to fall apart. The next morning, Hannah handed in her resignation letter to Mrs. Martinez. "Are you sure?" the supervisor asked. "I'm sure. Mr. Whitaker has nothing to do with this." A lie. It had everything to do with it. But some lies were necessary to survive. 2 hours later, Hannah was on a bus leaving Aspen. The snow was falling outside the window, and somewhere in the Alpine Lodge Hotel, Ryan Whitaker was discovering she had left. No goodbye, no address, nothing but a 3-word note left at the front desk. It was real. Thank you. Ryan Whitaker read the note 7 times. It was real. Thank you. 3 words. No address, no number, no way to find her. He crumpled the paper, uncrumpled it, crumpled it again. "Idiot," he muttered to himself. "You're a complete idiot." The suite door opened without a knock. Vanessa walked in as if she owned the place. Navy blue dress, victory smile barely disguised. "Ryan, darling, I heard your employee left. What a shame." Her tone had nothing of shame in it. "But maybe it's better this way. Now we can focus on what really matters." Ryan looked at her, and for the first time since he'd known Vanessa Clark, he really saw her. The impeccable makeup hiding the coldness, the rehearsed smile that never reached her eyes, the ambition disguised as interest. "It was you," he said. "It wasn't a question." Vanessa blinked. "It was you who leaked the story. You who took the photos, you who made up the quotes." "Ryan, I don't know what you—" "Stop." The word came out sharp. Vanessa closed her mouth. "I called my security team," Ryan continued. "They traced the number that sent the photo to Hannah. It was a burner phone bought at a store 3 blocks from here, paid in cash. But the store has cameras." Vanessa's smile faltered. "And guess who shows up in the footage buying the phone?" Silence. "Your assistant," Ryan said. "The same assistant who has access to the employee hallways. The same one who could easily overhear conversations and pass along information." Vanessa recovered her composure in record time. "Okay." She crossed her arms. "So what? I did you a favor. That girl was an opportunist, a fortune hunter. I just exposed the truth. You made up the truth. I protected you. You destroyed the only good thing that's happened in my life in years." Vanessa rolled her eyes. "For God's sake, Ryan. 1 week. You met that girl a week ago. She was a waitress, an intern, someone who probably can't even pay her own rent. And you want to tell me that was something good? Yes. You're pathetic. And you're cruel. I'm realistic." Vanessa took a step toward him. "We're from the same world, Ryan. We understand the rules. Marriages are alliances. Relationships are strategies. Love is an illusion poor people invented to feel better about their mediocre lives." Ryan let out a laugh. "Wow. What? I always knew you were calculating," but hearing it out loud, he shook his head. "It's almost impressive, the amount of cynicism in one person. Is that a compliment? It's a diagnosis." Vanessa pressed her lips together. "Be careful what you say, Ryan. My family has influence. One word from me and your business is on the East Coast. Will continue exactly as they are." Ryan smiled. "You think I built a billion-dollar company by being intimidated by empty threats? They're not empty. Yes, they are. Because you need me more than I need you. And we both know it." Something passed through Vanessa's eyes. Something that looked like real anger beneath the perfect facade. "You're going to regret this," she said through her teeth. "The only regret I have is not seeing who you really were sooner." And who am I? A lonely person pretending she chose to be lonely. Vanessa's smile finally disappeared. "You don't know anything about me." "I know enough. I know you spend so much time manipulating people that you forgot how to simply be with them. I know you'll spend the rest of your life at fancy parties, surrounded by people, and completely empty inside. That's cruel. It's honest. You should try it sometime." Silence. Vanessa stared at him for a long moment. The mask had fallen. Beneath it, there was only a woman who had bet everything on a game and lost. "Get out of my room," Ryan said. "Ryan." Now, she straightened her shoulders, recomposed her smile. A weaker version, but still functional. "You'll realize you made a mistake," she said, walking to the door. "And when you do, I won't be available." "What a shame. You're being sarcastic. I'm being honest." Vanessa opened the door. "Good luck finding your waitress," she said. "I hope she's worth it." "She is." The door slammed. Ryan stood in the middle of the room for exactly 3 seconds. Then he picked up his phone. "Marcus," he said when his assistant answered, "I need a favor." "Yes, sir." "The hotel employee. Hannah Brooks. I need to find her." "Sir, she resigned. She didn't leave contact information." "Then find out. Check employment records, emergency contacts, anything." Pause. "That could take some time, sir." "How long?" "A few hours, maybe a day." Ryan looked out the window. At the snow was falling. Hannah's bus was probably already far away. "Do it in hours," he said. "I'll pay whatever it takes." "Yes, sir." The call ended. Ryan pressed his forehead against the cold glass. She had left thinking he didn't believe her, thinking he had chosen doubt over trust, thinking everything they had lived wasn't enough, and he had let her. He had stood there and let her go. "Idiot," he repeated to his own reflection. "Complete and total idiot." His phone buzzed. A message from Marcus. "Found her emergency address. Denver, Colorado. It's her mother's, deceased 3 years ago, but the apartment is still in the family name." Ryan felt his heart race. Denver. 3 hours by car, less than an hour by plane. He grabbed his coat and ran out of the room. In the hallway, he almost ran over Mrs. Martinez. "Mr. Whitaker," she exclaimed. "Where are you going?" Ryan didn't stop. "To fix the biggest mistake of my life," he shouted over his shoulder, and disappeared down the stairs. Outside, the snow kept falling, and somewhere on the road to Denver, Hannah Brooks had no idea that a billionaire was about to drive through a storm to find her. Hannah was sitting on the floor of her mother's empty apartment, eating ice cream straight from the container, when someone knocked on the door. It was 11 at night. She was wearing flannel pajamas with a moose print, and she wasn't expecting visitors. "Go away," she yelled at the door. "Whoever you are, I don't want to buy anything. I don't want to talk about religion, and I definitely don't want to interact with other human beings today, or tomorrow, or for the rest of the month." More knocking. "I have a spoon," Hannah warned, "and I'm not afraid to use it." "Hannah, it's me." She froze. She knew that voice. "No," she said to the ice cream container. "That's not possible. You're hallucinating. It's the sugar." Too much sugar causes hallucinations. Probably. You're not a doctor, but it makes sense. Hannah, please open the door. You're not here, she replied out loud. You're in Aspen, in a luxury hotel, with important people, doing billionaire things. You're not in the hallway of a building without an elevator in Denver at 11 at night. I climbed 6 flights of stairs. My legs are shaking. Please, open the door. Hannah looked at her own reflection in the dark window glass. Messy hair, eyes swollen from crying, chocolate ice cream stains on her mousse pajamas. I can't open the door, she said. Why not? Because I look horrible. I don't care. I'm wearing mousse pajamas. I like mousse. I have ice cream on my face. What flavor? Chocolate. My favorite. Hannah let out a laugh that was half sob, half joy. You're impossible. You've said that before. And it's still true. Silence from the other side of the door. Hannah, Ryan's voice came softer now. I came to apologize. I know you don't want to see me. I know I messed everything up, but I couldn't. Pause. I couldn't leave things like this, not without telling you I was wrong. Completely, totally, stupidly wrong. Hannah pressed her forehead against the door. You should have believed me. I know. You looked at me like I could be a liar. I know. That hurt more than anything Vanessa did. I know, and I'm sorry, more than I can put into words. Silence. Hannah looked at the spoon in her hand, at the ice cream container on the floor, at the door that separated her from the man who had broken her heart. How did you find me? She asked. Your emergency address, in the hotel records. That's invasion of privacy. Technically, yes. I could sue you. You could. You're a billionaire. The lawsuit would take years. Probably, and I'd lose. Probably not. I have an excellent legal team, but they told me I'm clearly in the wrong in this situation. Hannah laughed again, a wet, tired laugh. Your legal team said that? Word for word. My chief lawyer said, and I quote, Mr. Whitaker, with all due respect, you're an idiot. He's right. I know. More silence. Hannah looked at the door, at the doorknob, at the decision in front of her. If I open this door, she said slowly, you can't laugh at my pajamas. I won't laugh, and you can't comment about the ice cream. No comments. And if you came here just to feel better about yourself and then leave, I swear I'll throw this container at your head. Fair enough. Hannah took a deep breath and opened the door. Ryan was standing in the hallway, coat covered in snow, hair messy, deep dark circles. He looked like he'd driven for hours through a storm, because he had. Hi, he said. Hi, she replied. They looked at each other for a moment, he in the hallway, she in the doorway. A billionaire and a former waitress in a building without an elevator in Denver. Your pajamas are amazing, Ryan said. You said you wouldn't comment. I said I wouldn't laugh. Compliments are allowed. Hannah felt the corner of her mouth curve against her will. You're ridiculous. I know. And an idiot, I know that too. And you hurt me a lot. His expression changed. The lightness disappeared. I know, he said, more serious now. And I'll spend as much time as necessary proving you can trust me again, if you'll let me. And if I don't, then I'll leave, and I'll respect your decision. But before I go, I need you to know something. What? Ryan took a step forward. I found out the truth, about everything. Vanessa confessed. The photo, the quotes, the whole story. She set it up because she was jealous, because she saw I was looking at you in a way I never looked at her. Hannah swallowed hard. And what did you do? I sent her away, cut any relationship with her family, and gave an exclusive interview telling the truth about what happened. You gave an interview? To clear your name. The story should come out tomorrow, with a formal retraction and a public apology. Hannah blinked. You did that for me? I'd do much more. Silence. The snow kept falling outside the hallway window. The wind whistled through the old building. And Hannah Brooks, in mousse pajamas with a broken heart, looked at the man who had driven through a storm to find her. Come in, she finally said. It's cold in the hallway. Ryan came in. The apartment was small, almost empty. Boxes stacked in the corners, furniture covered with sheets. The only sign of life was the ice cream container melting on the floor. Sorry about the mess, Hannah said. I wasn't expecting anyone. It's perfect. It's a disaster. It's honest. You and this obsession with honesty. It's my only quality. You're also handsome. Ryan smiled. Is that a compliment? It's an objective observation. It doesn't mean anything. Of course not. Stop smiling. I can't. Hannah rolled her eyes but felt something warm spreading through her chest, something that felt a lot like hope. "What happens now?" she asked. "Whatever you want to happen." "That's not an answer. It's the only one I have, because I'm not going to pressure you. I'm not going to ask you to go back to Aspen if you don't want to. I'm not going to ask you to be part of my world if you're not ready. And if I'm never ready, then I'll come to your world." Hannah blinked. "What?" "I have a technology company. I can work from anywhere. If you want to stay in Denver, I'll stay in Denver. If you want to go somewhere else, I'll go somewhere else. What matters isn't where, it's who with. You're serious. Very serious. You're willing to leave Aspen, your life, your routine? For you? Yes. But why?" Ryan approached, slowly, as if asking permission with each step. "Because I spent my whole life surrounded by people and feeling lonely. And in 1 week with you, I felt more accompanied than in 32 years. Because you called me Reidecker and hit your head on the desk and recommended a leak to help me sleep. Because you're the most real person I've ever met. And I don't want to lose that. I don't want to lose you." Hannah felt her eyes burn. "That sounds like a rehearsed speech. I practiced in the car. 3 hours of practice." 3 hours? "The road was bad, lots of time to think." She laughed, a wet, emotional laugh. "You're impossible, but you like me this way." "Unfortunately, yes." Ryan extended his hand. "So give me a chance. A chance to do things right. No rush, no expectations. Just the two of us figuring this out together." Hannah looked at his hand, at the blue eyes, at the man who had driven through a storm because he couldn't let her go. She placed her hand in his. "Okay," she said. "One chance." Ryan smiled, and this time Hannah smiled back. 6 months later, the Alpine Lodge Hotel was decorated for the winter season closing event. Hannah was standing in the center of the ballroom, wearing a blue dress that Ryan had insisted on buying, surrounded by people who 6 months earlier didn't even know she existed. A lot had changed. She was no longer an intern. She had gone back to college, finished her hospitality degree, and was opening her own inn in a small town in Colorado. Ryan had offered to finance it. She had refused, and after a 3-hour argument, they had reached an agreement. He would invest as a silent partner, and she would pay back every penny. They still argued about money. But now they argued together. As a couple, a real public official couple. Their story had come out in the press. "Billionaire finds true love with former waitress" was the most repeated headline. Hannah had hated it at first. Later, she had learned to ignore it. What mattered was what they had, not what others said. "You're talking to yourself again." Hannah jumped. Ryan was behind her, smiling. "I wasn't," she said. "Your lips were moving. I was singing, mentally, with my lips." "That doesn't make sense." "Yes, it does. It's an advanced technique. You don't know it." He laughed and put his arm around her waist. "Are you nervous?" "Why would I be nervous?" "You're in a ballroom full of rich people who used to ignore you." "I'm not nervous. I'm strategically anxious." "What does that mean?" "It means I'm nervous, but for a good reason." Ryan kissed her forehead. "You look beautiful, and you belong here as much as anyone in this ballroom." "You're only saying that because you love me." "I'm saying it because it's true." Hannah looked around, at the shiny ballroom, at the elegant people, at Mrs. Martinez, who now greeted her with a genuine smile, at Melissa, who had come as a special guest and was shamelessly flirting with an investor at the bar. A lot had changed, but some things remained. "Hey," Ryan said, turning her to face him. "I need to ask you something." "Now?" "Now." Hannah frowned. "You're acting weird." "Why are you acting weird?" "I'm not acting weird. You're sweating. It's hot in here. We're in Colorado, in December, with snow outside." Ryan took a deep breath. "Okay, I'm a little nervous." "Why?" He didn't answer. Instead, he knelt down, in the middle of the ballroom, in front of all those people. Hannah lost the ability to breathe. "What are you doing?" she whispered. "What does it look like?" "It looks like you're kneeling." Correct observation. In the middle of a ballroom full of people. Also correct. "Ryan, people are watching." "Let them watch." The entire ballroom had gone silent. All conversations stopped. All eyes turned to the couple in the center of the ballroom. Ryan took a small box out of his pocket. "Ryan," Hannah said, her voice shaking. "Hannah Brooks," he began. "You are the most clumsy, talkative, awkward, and completely wonderful person I've ever met. You called me Reidecker. You hit your head on a desk. You recommended a leak as therapy for insomnia. And somehow, in the midst of all that, you made me feel like I finally found my place in the world. Hannah's eyes were overflowing. Are you crying? Ryan asked. No, it's allergies. Allergies to what? To marriage proposals in public places. He laughed. She laughed, and cried at the same time. Hannah Brooks, Ryan continued, will you marry me? Silence. The entire ballroom held its breath. Hannah looked at the man kneeling in front of her, at the ring in the box, at the future being offered. She started. Stopped. I need to talk to myself first, she said. Ryan blinked. Now? You know I process important things this way. In front of 200 people. I work better under pressure. She turned slightly and murmured to herself. Okay, Hannah, a billionaire is proposing to you. In the same hotel where you spilled champagne on that witch, in front of everyone who ignored you. This is real. This is happening. What are you going to say? Obviously, yes. Why are you hesitating? You're not hesitating. You're processing. It's different. He's waiting. Everyone's waiting. Just say it. She turned back. Yes, she said. Ryan smiled. Yes? Yes, but with one condition. What? You never doubt me again. Never again. And you let me pay for half the wedding. We'll negotiate later. Ryan? Hannah? She rolled her eyes. Okay, yes. Completely, totally, absolutely yes. Ryan put the ring on her finger. The ballroom erupted in applause, but Hannah barely heard it, because Ryan was standing now, holding her face with both hands, looking at her as if she were the only person in the world. I love you, he said. I love you too, she replied, even though you're impossible. Especially because I'm impossible. That too. And when he kissed her, there in the center of the ballroom, surrounded by applause and snow falling outside, Hannah Brooks finally understood. She was no longer invisible. She never would be again, because she had found someone who saw her, really saw her, and that was worth more than all the billions in the world. What did you think of Hannah and Ryan's story? Do you think Hannah should have forgiven Ryan so quickly?
Join the conversation. Your comments and engagement are part of the healing process. Let us know your thoughts below. If this journey of resilience and turning pain into power resonated with your heart, please support Healing Stories. Subscribe. Help us build a sanctuary of strength by subscribing to the channel. Share the hope. Give this video a like and share it with someone who needs to hear this message of recovery and justice. Your support allows us to continue sharing powerful narratives of overcoming trauma and finding peace. Subscribe to Healing Stories and be part of the change.